Good afternoon and welcome back to What Matters Gulf Coast. Today we have a very special host, guest today who's going to tell us a little bit about himself and then what led him to Mobile. He is very politically active and he's going to talk about some of the things that he has been involved with in and around Mobile County. You know as well as I do that this is a very politically active year, and we all need to be informed and involved. So he's going to talk about motivating, educating, and involving people in that political arena. The person that I am about to turn the mic over to is Orrin Davis. He is a board member with Stand Up Mobile. Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon, Ms. V, and let me thank you for allowing me to be a part of your podcast this afternoon. As Ms. V had mentioned, I am Orrin Davis. I'm originally from Atlanta and a migrant here to Mobile, Alabama. Coming from Atlanta and transplanting here, I'm finding that there's a passion here that I have been involved in for a while, and that's politics. Since I've been here in Mobile, I've had an opportunity to get involved with politics with a group called Stand Up Mobile. It came about with Miss Beverly Cooper and Miss Amelia Bacon. And once they got this group together, they developed a board, and I became a board member. A little bit about myself. I graduated from an HBCU, which was Stillman College, which is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I also, in Atlanta, I worked for Emory University as an auxiliary accountant. I've also been a former school teacher in Clayton County in Atlanta, in Georgia. It's one of the outside counties of Atlanta. Aside from that, I'm a member of the Divine Nine, which I'm an alpha and very active there in Atlanta. And that's all I can say right now about myself. Why Mobile? Well, as you well know, Atlanta has transitioned, and I transitioned as well. Wanted to be in a place that was relaxing, a bit more comfortable than what Atlanta offers now. Atlanta has become what they consider the new California, and it is overwhelmed with people, jobs, plenty of action. And I wanted a slower pace. I had thought about moving to Savannah, but I had an opportunity to come down here to Mobile and bury the first Black Mardi Gras queen of Mobile, Miss Aline Howard. That became a very exciting time when I got here and got to see a lot of history, which I like to see and become knowledgeable about, knowing that Mobile is the original Mardi Gras city and not New Orleans. Also, meeting the people here, seeing that they're very friendly and they're open-minded. Some of them, I should say, but enough for me to be comfortable. Okay. And when it comes to politics, it gives me an opportunity to express my rights, my freedom of speech. And Stand Up Mobile does that. Stand Up Mobile is uh, noted for education, voting, and empowerment. That's what they stand upon. Ms. V,
Yes.
what?
You have explained why Mobile, and I know sometimes it's difficult for a person coming from another place to Mobile and to blend in so successfully. So, can you give us a few pointers on how you managed that?
Well, after coming in on the first Black Mardi Gras Queen of Mobile, uh, it kind of gives you that connection. You get to meet people, you get to talk with people of notoriety, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, no pun intended, but uh, as the saying goes, you meet the right people,
Yes.
people that are doing things,
Mhm.
people that are engaged in things that are pertinent and important to the city and the community itself,
Mhm.
especially to the community that is in need. And I found that to be exciting, as well as something that um, I can do and not be sedentary.
Okay. Great. Great. Now, you have talked to us before about uh, Stand Up Mobile being involved in the voter registration drive. Why is it important for us to vote, especially that 18 to 25-year-old group?
Well, you find that at large, as people for voting, you get excited about the national election, but you forget about the municipal and the the local primaries that we have here, and those are the ones that affect you and your surroundings. And it's important that you're educated about who is able to do something for your community overall. It's not good to have to wait until something happens before you decide that, oh, we need to speak about this or we need to march about that. It's an ongoing process. Just like voting. You sign up to vote, you go online and register. Your name is there. But if you don't actually put the action to it and go and vote, it's a loss.
Mhm.
Every vote counts, even
Mhm.
though it's just one.
Mhm.
The numbers speak for themselves. And you can't go around saying, well, they're going to do what they want to do. Well, they do what they want to do because you don't vote.
Yeah. Mhm.
So young people have to be taught, like we were taught, how essential it is to get out there, beat the streets to make things happen for yourself.
Okay. What kinds of things have you been involved with in the Get Out the Vote effort?
Well, when I first got here, the big issue was redistricting.
Mhm.
Um, Once the census was done and then the politics began
Mhm.
to justify the desires of those that were in power,
Mhm.
which left those that who could have voted who could have made a big difference, or who could have uh, stepped aside, if you will, and not had what we had to encounter with dead man running,
Mhm.
uh, would have made a big difference, even though it did make a difference in the end.
Mhm.
But if we had been visualizing what was going on when that actually happened, because what happens in the past kind of dictates what the future is going to exist, what's going to happen in the future.
Yes.
Because as we see during that time, um, Manzi's mother was put up before us for dead man's running. She had to step down. But that was a political uh, plight, if you will.
Yes. Mhm.
And if they do something like that, can you imagine what's going to happen in the future as long
Yes.
as we let that kind of thing happen?
Yes. Yes.
And then on top of that, what other tricks do you have up your sleeve? Because we're
Mhm.
talking about redistricting here.
Mhm.
And we're getting kickbacks because they know that they're not doing the right thing.
Mhm.
Had they been doing the right thing, this would have been moving smoothly. And
Exactly.
I would not have had to go before city council and speak on 2 occasions
Mhm.
regarding it.
Mhm.
Now, mind you, we go to city council and speak our piece. It's said to the people at large so that they can begin to think. We're not trying to get you to think like me or think like any other organization, but we want you to think and
Mhm.
think rationally, especially when it comes down to uh, your living surroundings. You look around where you live, within a block where you live. Are you satisfied with the way it looks? In most places, you're probably not if you're downtown. But you go out to District 7, it's a different story.
Mhm.
You go out to District 4, it's a different story.
Mhm.
So it's things like that that I get involved in. And my biggest thing right now, because we have an election coming up, and it's coming quick because days go fast.
Mhm.
We have to start with the little things. I always say it only takes a spark to make a fire.
Mhm.
So we have the tools. Everybody's on social media. So when you're with your family, families get together on Sundays if they're not doing anything but just hanging out. Let the political elections that we are getting ready to face become a part of conversation.
Mhm.
When you're at the beauty parlor, don't gossip. Gossip about the political election that's coming about.
Exactly.
What we as a people are going to do about it.
Mhm.
Download Vote Alabama if you're standing there talking to somebody that's not registered or not sure if their name has been taken off roll or been placed at another precinct. Talk to them when we speak about being educated. If you got a college student in your house, make sure that they get that absentee ballot before they go
Mhm.
so they can turn it in
Mhm.
because they still are a citizen of Mobile, Alabama.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, when I say a spark, it's just the little groups.
Yeah.
Now, we can venture off into the churches. Every church within this city can take on a political ramification where they get a someone within that church take on the responsibility of finding out if their parishioners are registered. If they are elderly and they want to do a mail in, educate them on how they can do that.
Mhm.
Provide them with the tools that they may not have at their home in order for them to be able to get those absentee ballots, because now it's requiring you to have a copy of um, your identification sent in with it.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have a computer or a copier at their home in order to make that happen. The
Mm.
churches do.
Yeah.
You pay your tithes and offers in order to get those resources.
Mhm.
But I can go on and on about that, Miss V.
Okay.
So those are some things that I have done in order to get involved in the city. And the more I see, the more I see is needed. And one person can't do it, and
Mhm.
one group can't do it. We all have to collectively get together and make this happen, especially when you are in control of those persons that you put in office.
Yeah.
Those persons, they get in there. If you listen to them as city council, they say, I. Most time when they begin to speak, it's I.
Mhm.
It's not my constituents. How often have you all gone to a meeting that they personally had on their own that you did not have to ask for? I bet you count on one hand those persons that may have done that. And it probably was because we asked for it. And then when you start talking about a meeting, look at city council. When is this scheduled? Tuesday mornings.
Mhm.
Where are most of us? At work. When you have something as pertinent as redistricting, why you can't have a meeting in the evening
Mhm.
when people get off from work? Sure, it's put on for you to go online and see it later, but that's not fair to the people. We all need to be there so you can see physically that we care about our communities. We care about what you do and how you vote.
Mhm.
This is not about you because we put you in office. It's about us
Mhm.
and what you should be doing for us.
Mhm.
And using the language of the majority minority when people of color are the majority in this city. Black Americans, that is. So why you can't say that? So there's always, I should say, a smoke screen existing when you want to discuss and throw the rock and hide your hand, if you will. I'm finding in some of these things that are existing here in Mobile. Not that it can't be rectified, but we need people to come out and vote and stop saying they're going to do what they want to do because they're doing what they want to do because you won't do your part. Miss V.
Okay. All right. Very good. And that leads me to the next. Why is this particular election, this midterm election that's coming up November 9th, is so important?
It's important because we have an opportunity to elect people that are like you and I. And when I say that, I mean to think like you and I for the people
Mhm.
and not be selfish. We're here with an opportunity to make uh, those that make decisions, those that make laws, can look like us, have compassion for us. They have compassion for themselves that are there already.
Mhm.
When you look at the fact that the whole state had to be addressed legally about this redistricting thing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened.
Mhm.
You would think that now that we are beyond 1965 and going forward, that we would be in a place where justice exists. But it really doesn't.
Mhm.
Getting out there to vote and put people in place that feel like you, think like you, in justice and do the right thing. Nobody's looking for any favoritism when it comes to the law. We want you to stick to the law and not look for avenues that will justify your underhandedness, if you will.
Mhm.
We need individuals in there that are going to say, this is the law. And yes, I have an opportunity to decide if you have to serve any time, that it won't be because of my personal feelings of you um, ethnically.
Mhm.
And if I have to give an example of that, um, it's like if one of my children, we're dealing with Black Lives Matter, are we not?
Yes.
My child does something, a male or female does something because they are responding out of emotions, which most young people do. Um, Once they go before the judge says, you will serve the max time. His friend's child come, his personal friend, who may not be of the ethnicity of my child, say, well, instead of serving 10 years, we'll let you serve 2 since you don't have any other convictions. Is that fair? No, it's not. But because you are in office and you feel as though you have the privilege to do that, you do it
Yes. Yes.
with no consideration.
Okay.
And then we move on to another example that I can give. I had a car accident, and the person ran into the back of my vehicle.
Mhm.
And come to find out, um, his license was suspended.
Ah.
Now, he asked me to settle it without us having to have to deal with the police. And I said, no, I can't do that. I have
Mhm.
insurance and I want them to take care of it if you don't.
Mhm.
Well, when the policeman got there, and once he found that out, and we went through all of the formalities that needed to be done,
Yes.
he told the person that did not have the license had been suspended
Mm.
that he could leave, but he did not want to see him drive the vehicle away. And he needed to make a phone call and have the person that's registered to that vehicle come and pick it up because he did not see him driving the vehicle. Now,
Mhm.
had that been me, on the other hand,
Oh, I know.
I would have gone to jail.
Yes. Yes.
The only thing that I regret about that is that I didn't push it. I
Mhm.
should have pushed it and asked for his supervisor.
Mhm.
But trust me, that'll never happen again.
Mhm.
But that just goes to show you how people that are in power, that does not look like you and I, or think like you and I as a
Yes.
majority,
Yes.
privilege kicks in.
Mhm.
Justice does not exist.
Mhm.
So that's, that's what I feel about that. And I want to be a a voice for the less fortunate and educate them. So we're not running to the courthouse or marching in the street and uh, letting people get away with using the word I,
Mhm.
or coming about later and saying to me, when I am standing before you telling you this is not right, and when you know your back is up against the wall, then you say to me, well, what is it you people want?
Mhm.
You people. So that's how I stand on that, Miss V.
Okay. Okay. Now, in summarizing, what is the one message you would like for this audience to walk away with?
I want you to understand how important it is to get your family together, educate them about the candidates that we're getting ready to put in office come November 9th,
Mhm.
and make a conscientious effort to make sure that all are registered. And when the 9th comes, that all that you've gotten registered, go and vote. I
Mhm.
only ask you to do that with your immediate family.
Mhm.
And then it will move out from there,
Yeah.
because your family knows other families. They know other friends and children that are their age, uh, or whomever. It needs to be a situation where uh, this flows like water off the dam, where
Mhm.
individuals have gotten together and it just blew up from there, where everybody is voting. You call your child that's in college and say, remind them to send their absentee ballot in. Those that are in the city and and have to go and vote, make sure they know where they're going.
Mhm.
And I like these churches to get involved, uh, and just do it with your parishioners that
Mhm.
they come from different areas.
Yeah,
So I'm sure they can take it back to their communities, and we can make this happen.
exactly.
Getting registered is essential, but making sure you get to the poll when it's time
Mhm.
is even more so.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Before we close out with you today, and we certainly have appreciate all of the wonderful information, helpful information that you brought forth today, I would like to ask you, do you have any other reminders or announcements or anything like that you would like to share with our audience before we end today's program?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I would like for all of your listeners to go to Stand Up Mobile's website. All you need to do is type into Google Stand Up Mobile and it will come up.
Mhm.
Also, once you get on there, you'll see pictures of events that we have been involved in, uh, and become a volunteer. We need volunteers for canvassing. We need people behind the scene to do uh, administrative work. Come and learn how to canvass. We go out and do, as well as do within our own group, um, a training
Mhm.
for um, canvassing, because canvassing is something that you need to know how to handle in a respectful way, and not to get yourself in any trouble when you go to people's homes.
Mhm.
There's a way to do that, and how to handle it if you run into issues or problems, and you never want to go canvassing by yourself.
Yes.
But yes, do go to our website.
Mhm.
There, I think there is a card posted with our information on it, and with its phone number, as well as the websites to go to. You see that we're on Facebook and Instagram. So do that. And also, coming up, we're in the process now of planning. Uh, we're with a coalition uh, who Stand Up Mobile is with a coalition, which is All Saints Episcopal Church and
Yeah.
Bethel AME Church.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and those two churches, it's called Wade in the Water, WIW. And Stand Up Mobile, they're presently working on setting up a giant Zoom meeting to coordinate get out to vote
Mm-hmm.
action among them. With us will be the IMA, which is the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Allgood has a group, it's called the Inner City Mission.
Yes.
And Reverend Edwards has one, and it's People to Further the Dream.
Mm-hmm.
And also another group that we're involving is South Alabama's Economic Roundtable. They were instrumental in the rescue plan with this redistricting and so forth. And also the NAACP, the National Association of Advancement of the Colored People, and the League of Women Voters.
Yes.
And the Divine Nine, which is a Greek organization that organized through colleges and universities over the years. In fact, my fraternity is the beginning, which was in 1906. So when that comes about, please be on the lookout for it. I'm sure it will be on our website once it is established. And please get involved. The more people that are involved, and we don't want you to take on a lot, we just want you to take on a little piece.
Yeah.
The piece that you're comfortable with doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. We don't want you to do nothing, because it's important that we be wise and be knowledgeable about what's before us and what's coming about in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mobile is thinking about annexing now. And you can only imagine what's going to happen with that, and with them tearing down the projects that are within the city, and they're giving them vouchers to leave the city. So you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So stay abreast of our website, become volunteers, and if anything, just take on just a little bit of it, not asking you to do a lot. Get your children involved. There was a time, and I'm sure some of you all remember this, when you were children, your parents took you to the polls to see what it was like. We don't teach civics in the school anymore. So you get lost in not knowing what's important for you to do. So now we have to feed our children. We have to feed our young adults. And the way you get to do that is give young adults a little of something that they like, in order for them to take some of what you want them to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot something else has popped up in my mind. We did an event during the fall. It was Drop the Mic. And boy, did the young people come out. It consisted of poetry, rapping, uh, the spoken word. And in between all of that, we had an opportunity for the city council person to speak and for us to talk about voting. And it worked. So these things are ideas that you may come up with, that we can find that are pertinent to help us get the message out to young folks. Get involved with us.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your ideas with an open mind,
Mm-hmm.
not control, but with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll gladly be happy to have you with us. I thank you, Ms. V. That is all I have to say today.
Okay, well, we certainly do thank our guest today. He's brought us quite a bit of insightful information, as well as some announcements of things that are coming up. Now, one of the things he talked about, and I did find this on their website. So anything that he spoke of, or you want additional information, go on the website, Stand Up Mobile, and you should be able to see. It's on Facebook as well. You should be able to see all of this. They are actually going to have, and he talked about this, voter registration canvassing training for voter registration and training for canvassing. And it's actually going to be this Monday, July 25th, 6 p.m., from 6 to 8 at Bethel Church at 714 Savannah Street. This is extremely important, and it's important that we know the policies and the procedures for the voter registration. So if you're out there and you're volunteering and you're helping someone to register to vote, you don't make mistakes with them so that whatever paperwork they turn in gets rejected. So let's go to the training. They're doing a canvassing training too, which is where you go to the neighbors and you knock on the doors and you talk to them about the importance of voting. You find out who in the household needs to register. You get them registered and you encourage the others that are registered to please go out and vote. And that training again is Monday, July 25th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Bethel Church, 714 Savannah Street. Excellent, excellent presentation. One other thing I want to remind you of, and I'm going to end with this. Our guest today, Orrin Davis, talked a lot about redistricting. That is a very important issue for us because we're in the midst of making a decision about redistricting. Mobile, the city of Mobile, actually has more Blacks now, African Americans, than any other ethnic groups. So we now outnumber the whites, the Hispanics, and others. As a result of that, we should have another district that would be termed a minority district. There's some pushback on the part of the mayor and some of the city council to this event. They actually took it to court. The state of Alabama, because Alabama now has enough Blacks where we should have another representative on the state level, another state representative. They took it all the way to the Supreme Court. And this Supreme Court being like this Supreme Court is, they tabled it. So as far as they're concerned, it's kind of null and void until the Supreme Court decides to pick it back up again. But as far as Mobile, the city of Mobile, we've got a redistricting vote that's coming up soon. Let me read you this letter. And this was an open letter from Stand Up Mobile to Lanyap, which has now become our weekly newspaper. The clock is ticking on redistricting. In less than 1 month, August 9th, a new city council map will be adopted, redrawing the current city council district lines for the next decade. This new map will determine whether all of Mobile citizens are finally represented in city government and whether we move down the path to progress or not. With 4 meetings left, the city council has 2 options. They can adopt the community-driven map developed by experts at the direction of a broad swath of citizens and citizen-led groups from across Mobile with the council's input. That's one option. The second option, or they can adopt the map proposed by Mayor Stimpson, which fails to meet the legal and moral obligations the city has under federal law. The 2020 U.S. Census showed that the city of Mobile is a majority Black city, and Black citizens are underrepresented in city government. As a result, federal law requires that the city redraw the city council district lines to address these issues and ensure all citizens are properly represented. The process dictates the mayor develop a redistricting plan and takes it to the city council. The city council can either accept that plan, make changes to that plan, or adopt a different map altogether. If the council refuses to take up and adopt the community map, the mayor's map will automatically be adopted, and the mayor's map does not change any of the districts that are currently there. Currently, we have 3 minorities, 3 Blacks city council districts and 4 whites. The mayor's plan does not change any of that, even though there are now more Blacks in the city of Mobile than whites. Failure to act on the community map is acting. This council takes on these redistricting maps will be one of the most consequential things they do in their term. It will also set the tone and tenor for the coming debate just over the horizon on annexation. Mr. Davis talked about annexation. Annexation would bring more people into the city. The mayor is promoting this as if a way to get additional federal funds, but it's also a way to bring more others into the city. The head count can easily go up, not necessarily the minority head count, the other head count. The Black community does not have adequate representation in Government Plaza, which has had a devastating impact, including long neglected neighborhoods littered with blighted homes and empty lots, city streets and sidewalks literally crumbling, street after street, subpar city facilities, and much more. Meanwhile, other citizens have simply been driven from their homes and communities as part of the continuing effort to close down public housing in the city to make way for luxury condominiums. At the same time, week after week, city resources are diverted to pet projects and private entities, while funding for essential nonprofits and city services that most help those struggling suffer cuts after cuts. This all has naturally created a deep distrust of the powers that be. The mayor's proposal has proposed redistricting map, which first did not even meet the most basic requirements, and only after an enormous outcry can try to argue that it does also feeds this distrust. Rather than embrace ensuring all of our citizens are represented, the mayor's group are doing as little as possible and have sent the message that they would rather waste unknown amounts of taxpayer dollars to defend defenseless maps from potential litigation than simply allow Black citizens the opportunity to elect a candidate of their choice. This speaks volumes. The coming annexation proposal will speak volumes too. Long before the 2020 census made it official, it had been clear that the Black community was underrepresented, yet nothing was done to address that. It has also been clear that some have seemed set on maintaining the current power structure that keeps it that way. It would be deeply disturbing if we went from an effort to prevent the Black community, now legally required, representation it deserves, to another effort that would aim to change the current demographics of the city. Annexation will change the demographics of the city again before any 2030 census count. Therefore, we urge the city administration and city council to do the right thing and be sure that any annexation proposal reflects the current demographics of the city, keeping a solid majority Black citizenship. The demographic breakdown of a proposed annexation would likely be 60% Black, 30% white, and 10% other. Only then will it be clear the true goal is to grow the city while finally caring for the city we already have. Anything other would be divisive and a true barrier to progress for the city of Mobile. The citizens of Mobile deserve so much better than that. This was an open letter written to Lanyap and published for the public, and it was signed by Reverend Byron Daniels and Reverend Cleveland McFarland, Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Mobile, Amelia Bacon and Beverly Cooper, Stand Up Mobile, Reverend Jim Flowers, All Saints Episcopal Church. So we have Blacks and whites both fighting for this. Now, the redistricting vote, which is an extremely important vote, it will come up. Please put this on your calendar. It will come up Tuesday, August 9th, 10 a.m. at Government Plaza. That's the day that the City Council will vote on a redistricting map, whether it's the mayor's map or a new map. The vote will come up Tuesday, August 9th, 10 a.m. at Government Plaza. And they are asking that we please attend and pack the house. So please put that on your calendar, keep that in mind, and remember that this is a long, hard battle that's not even close to being finished, okay? Because if we get the city council redistricting issue settled, then we've got to turn around and look at annexation. But I'm sorry, that's just the way life is, okay? Do not forget that there's voter registration training and canvassing training Monday, tomorrow, July 25th, 6 to 8 at Bethel AME Church, 714 Savannah Street. We want to thank our guests today, He brought us an awful lot of very helpful information. And we want to invite you to please take part. Go on that website and take a look at what Stand Up Mobile is doing and has done and what's coming up in the future so that you can be a part, whatever that part may be, you can be a part of it. We now have it on our page, the voter training, 7 July 25th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Bethel Church at 714 Savannah Street. Please attend. It's not going to be very long, and we all need to be there. And then put on your calendar to be at the August 9th City Council meeting. Extremely important that we show up in droves, because that's the vote. That's the day they will vote on whether or not we get another Black city council district. Okay? Thank you for sharing your Sunday evening with us. We do appreciate you. And we will thank you and wish you a happy Sunday and a wonderful next week. And thank you for joining us. Please join us again next Sunday, which will be our health and mental health Sunday. So please tune in for that and pick up some information about COVID, where we are with COVID, where we are with monkeypox, and mentally and emotionally where we are, which is just equally as important. Again, thank you for joining us. Please join us again next Sunday at 4 p.m. Thank you.